Speaking of politics, now you wrap up an 8-year tenure. Link Almond wrapped up an 8-year tenure before that. But yet, as we look at the Republican Party, the situation is as bleak as it's ever been. The Republicans will hold no general offices in January. They did gain a couple of seats in the General Assembly, but not certainly enough to sustain a couple.
Doubled the Senate from 4 to 8.
But we still couldn't sustain a veto. I mean, I understand crawling before you walk. But how come the success of Republicans at the top level? And let's also we have a former Republican turned independent who is now governor. Clearly, the state voters, that says something about the Democrats, at least on the gubernatorial level. Why has that not been able to spread down to the Republican Party and other general offices and in the General Assembly where, I mean, there's just a critical lack of representation of a minority party?
Well, I think there's, lots of reasons for that are a lot of them historical, Bill, but I think that you had Catherine Taylor that, first time out of the gate, and she almost won. I mean, she really gave Ralph Malus a run for his money, and Kerry King, got involved, and Gina Raimondo is a strong candidate, but I think that it's all about the candidates. John Robitaille, frankly, well, in my judgment, if it weren't for the Ken Block, all right, 22,000 votes, I think John Robitaille would be the governor today. There's no doubt in my mind on that. All the pollsters will tell you that, all of that, because that vote was not going to go to Chafee. That vote was mostly going to go to John Robitaille, maybe a little bit to Caprio.
Well, let me ask, what will it take to get the Republican Party back in the game as you see it? And again, departing as governor now, what is it going to take? Well,
it's always like anything else. You need a good organization, and the Republican Party versus the Democrats, it's all in the ground game. And what the Democrats have enjoyed is the unions. And the unions supply the ground game. When you look at the General Assembly races, right, because they've got rank and file members, and they say, get out there, and you get out there and picket, or you're going to leaflet neighborhoods, they've got the legs to do that. The Republican Party, it's all volunteer. These are people that, you've got to go into communities. So you need to be better organized, or you need to be able to, let's say, try and match or offset that advantage that the unions have from an organizational standpoint. The sad thing, and I have a lot of friends with unions, teachers and so forth. The sad thing is they allow themselves to always be seen as voting Democrat. I haven't seen the union yet support a Republican. And that to me is really absurd. And by the way, all the dues, you and I are paying the wages of the teachers and the state employees, which the dues then are going to the unions, and that dues money is being used to get Democrats elected. All right? And I think there's something wrong with that. So I think it's, we need to be better organized. We need good candidates, and it's hard today to get people to come forward. Particularly people that haven't been involved to run for office. But I'm not discouraged at all. I'm very encouraged. I think the Tea Party has energized, people. And you saw more candidates running for more offices this year than in recent memory, Bill. And yeah, do I wish the Republicans had more gains? Yes. But we went from 8 to 12 in the House, from 4 to 8 in the Senate. So we doubled the Senate and increased by 50% in the House. So I think, frankly, the direction is a positive one. Now, we need better organization within the party and better recruitment of candidates. But, this all just takes hard work.
Another legacy question for you. When we look back at past governors, there's something that we can point to, a kind of Link Almond can point to the arena in Kingston as something. Bruce Sunland can point to the airport terminal. And I've heard people say, what could Don Carcieri point to? I know that you can credit for moving the state through the Great Recession with the surplus, with finances reasonably intact, at least today. What do you point to so you could point to a legacy that says this was Don Carcieri, this says Don Carcieri's imprint on it?
This sounds, I don't care about legacies, okay? Historians will decide what the legacy is after time passes, Bill, okay? When I go back to that star, all right? every single point of that star, we have made enormous progress on. All right, and I could point to, the buildings at URI. We've invested more in the sciences and more in the academic side of the university in the last 8 years than has been done in, a long, long time. You can look at the highway. When I came in, that was going to take forever to get that done. We accelerated it. We got it. We've done. I think the DOT has done a great job with that. The airport was there, yes, but we've completed the intermodal. We're going to have the commuter rail. The wind, you saw in today's paper, the federal government's indicated that Rhode Island will be one of 6 states that they're going to accelerate the process for offshore wind and a number of other fronts. We've set aside more land in the state in the last 8 years for preservation than, again, in any prior period that anybody can recall. And on the education front, as I said, we got raced to the top. We were one of the few states in the country, got a $75 million, federal government award to really, move the reforms in our education system to a whole new plateau, Bill. So, what people are interested in different things. I'm interested in them all because I think we need to do all of those well if we're going to have the kind of state that I want to have here to be proud of. So, and at the end of the day, people will make that judgment. All I've tried to do is the best I know how to do, the best I could using all my years of background and experience and love for this state, to make it a better state. What somebody thinks is going to be the legacy point, I'll let the historians worry about that.
Hear it, and see it when you want it. On demand, audio and video at 630WPRO.com.